Thank you to the conference organizers for inviting me to present some brief findings on Brand Africa and sustainable development. As you are all aware, Africa is changing. It has a global momentum. Its abundant natural resources are gaining the world's attention and gradually transforming Africa into a significant participant within the global economy. This presents Brand Africa with the chance to break through and tell a new story. Through our research, we are discovering that the emerging Brand Africa is about people. Despite natural resources, landscape, and wildlife, the way Africa is perceived is based on African people, on what they do with those resources and their environment. Therefore, the new Brand Africa is about people. It is people-centered. We are also discovering that to understand Brand Africa and its role in sustainable development, we need to look at African people, at what they can and should do to lead the process. For example, from our analysis of discourses on natural resources, whilst Africa is globally competitive due to its resources, the competitive advantages and benefits of those resources become valuable and meaningful to Africans through what the African people do with them. For example, an investor said, oil, diamonds, gold, and so on are financial resources. We need to invest in them in such a way that they can be used not only to generate profits for companies, but also for the environment where the companies operate to rebuild the societies. So the economic, political, and social cultural competences and responsibilities of Africans are key to the development of Africa as a brand. It is crucial to link its people with its sustainable development. It is people who develop the continent and who stand to benefit from such development. We also need to look at the progress of African people within a global context. Indeed, a number of observers who have contributed to our research have claimed that the rise of Africa signifies the rise of people of African descent worldwide, both resident on the continent and in diaspora, regardless of whether or not they have set foot on the continent. Africa's rise will have a heavy influence on the situation of African Americans, Black Caribbeans, Black Latino Americans, and Afro-Europeans. Figures and economic wealth have some consequences on the status of individuals. However, Africa does not yet have the level of self-sufficiency to allow it to extract and add value to its natural resources for domestic and international markets, and so to compete on a sustainable development. Africa needs foreign direct investment, not aid. Africa desperately needs the technical know-how that would include skilled workers, technology, and state-of-the-art equipment to transform resources into competitive, exportable products. But for it to attract foreign direct investment, Brand Africa has to be turned into a magnet for investors. We are discovering that this requires developing both accountable leadership and ordinary people's capacities. Africans need to be seen as capable and responsible global citizens who are fully aware of their role, not just in the development of their own continent, but in that of the whole world. Africans are the brand Africa. Their value is a brand derives from what they do and the contribution they make to the global system. For the new brand Africa to be competitive, we need to be viewed as people capable of managing our own affairs. In order for serious investment to be made, we have to be seen as people who are serious about managing our affairs. Therefore, potential recommendations for moving forward pertain to 1. The strategic management of brand Africa, to ensure that all the different individuals, parties and organizations that are working towards repositioning Africa will speak with one voice and achieve maximum effect globally. And 2. Internal brand building across Africa. This slide is just an example of the scale of interest on brand Africa that we find when we do a simple Google search. We propose that Africans should start building the brand from within the continent by focusing on appreciating their role as the brand Africa, assessing their strengths and weaknesses, and developing their capacities so that they can drive their own sustainable progress and deliver value into their lives, their nation, continent, and to the whole world, and thus ensuring that they deliver on their potential and the promises they make to international investors and to the world at large. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me via email.